The SDR is not a form of currency that you can use to buy colorful clothing or wonderful paintings here in Marrakesh. It is also not a form of money because, as the name indicates, a special drawing right, it is a right to draw on something. In this case, it is actually a right to draw on other IMF members' foreign exchange reserves. This right is, however, limited to certain major international currencies that are heavily traded. It is not, for example, a right to buy gold from other members' foreign exchange reserves. These currencies currently include the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, the British pound, and the Chinese renminbi. Together with the weights of these currencies in the so-called SDR basket, you get a value of about $1.30 per SDR at today's exchange rates. So how does this work? SDR members have decided to allocate about 660 billion SDRs amongst each other, according to each member's capital share or quota in the IMF. For example, the US has been allocated about $110 billion, whereas our host here in Marrakesh, Morocco, has been allocated about 1.2 billion SDRs. If Morocco hypothetically wanted to exchange some of its SDRs for a usable currency like the US dollar, it would have to approach the IMF, and the IMF would actually help Morocco through a network of countries to provide the foreign exchange for Morocco's SDRs. Now, here is the hook. Morocco would have to pay interest on the dollars it receives from these countries. And the interest is equivalent to the SDR value of these dollars times the SDR interest rate. It is a weighted interest rate using the weights of the SDR basket of short-term rates of these currencies in the basket, and it is currently at today's interest rates about 4.1%. The interest would be received by the countries that provide the foreign exchange, say dollars, to Morocco in exchange for its SDRs. So the SDR is a closed system. The amount of SDRs outstanding remains the same after each transaction. And the interest paid by one country to receive foreign currency is received by the other countries that provide that currency in exchange for SDRs. This limits the applicability of the SDR in everyday use. As I said, it is not a new form of money, it is not a currency, it is simply a right on a country's reserve account to access foreign exchange reserves from other members. And for countries that exercise that right, it is simply a loan that they take out to finance investment or imports in exchange for an interest payment that, albeit, is probably lower than what they would have to pay in today's capital markets.